Welcome back everyone to the Blender Creator course, Stylized 3D Models, and this is where we left it off. Alright, so let's now think about these blocks that are going to go up there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Shift A, I'm going to bring in a cube, I'm going to bring the cube over here, I'm going to make it smaller, like so, and I want it to be a little bit thicker, so if I grab one of these, Shift D, just bring it over, I'm going to delete this out of the way after, but what I want it to be is a little bit thicker than this wood. And the reason is because obviously these are supports. So we don't want it too thick, but we do want it to be a little bit thicker than this. So we can see if we bring this down, it's way too thick at the moment. So I'm just going to press S and make it a little bit thicker like so. Now the next thing that I want to do is I'm going to delete that out of the way. I'm going to put this to get a nice measurement of how high I want these blocks to go. So I'm going to stick this in the floor like so. And then I'm going to pull this out into the corner here, like so. And then what I'm going to do is now I'm going to grab the top of it. So I'm going to press Tab, grab the top with Face Select. And then what I'm going to do is press Shift Spacebar, move, pull it up. Now at the moment you can see I've got Proportion Editing on. Turn that off. We're not going to need it on. And let's pull it up to somewhere like there. So that's how tall we actually want it. So let's actually have a look at how tall this actually is. So press Tab. Go to item. At the moment you can see it's 2.36. If I press S and Z, you can see this Z dropping down. So at the moment it's 2.36. Let's set it to 2.4. And then we'll have a good round number for it rather than 2.36. And now what I can do is I can pull this out. Now what I want to do is I want to create perhaps 4 of one type and 4 of another type. So what do I mean by that? First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the wood. Now we're going to do the wood exactly the same way as we did with the others. So what I'm going to do is though, I will make it a little bit different though. So let's press Shift D. So we're going to create 4 different types. So Shift D, like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab each of these, press Tab, I'm going to go into the first one, Control R, left click, right click. And then the next one, Control R, left click. But this time not right click, just drag it up a little bit. So right, oops, Control R, bring in some edge loops, left click, drag it up, left click, Control R, left click, drag it down, left click, and then Control R. And then just do whatever you want with this one. So something like that we're going to end up with. All right, so now the next thing we want to do is we want to randomize these. So we're going to press A to grab everything, mesh, come in, and we're going to go to transform, randomize, like so. And actually, that's not looking that bad. Now, the reason that happened is because I didn't reset the transformations. I'm going to turn it down a little bit though. We don't want them quite so randomized. So you can see now there's a little bit of randomization on those. Looking good so far. Now let's press Tab, let's press Control A, all transforms, right click, set origin to geometry. And now what we're going to do is we're going to actually come in and we're going to give them some bevels like we did before. So generate bevel like so, turn it down to 0.1 like so. And then I'm going to press Control L, link materials, sorry, not L, Control L, link or copy modifiers. And there we go. And now what I want to do is I want to go back to my user library, come down to materials, and we want to go with the main wood. Now the problem is if I drop this main wood on, you're going to see 2 problems that are going to happen. First of all, if I come in and drop this on there, you'll see that it's going to be blurred again. And that's the reason for that is we haven't unwrapped these yet. And second of all, you're going to see that when I unwrap this one, so Smart UV project, click OK. Actually, that's gone on the right way. I'm just wondering if this has been changed. So if I go to shading panel, yes, it's actually been changed in this file. I didn't actually know that. So once you've updated one of the shaders in here, even though you're using it from your asset manager, it will update it within this file. Not in the asset manager file, but it will update in here, which actually is really handy. So now what I can do is I can go back to modeling. I can have a look at that, and that's absolutely fine. So now we can do the same with the other ones as well. So we can grab each of these, drop it on this one, press Control L, link materials, and then come to each of these, and then press Tab, A to grab them all, Smart UV project, click OK, And there we go. We can see these look entirely different from each other. Now, I'm really, really happy with how those look. Am I happy with the thickness of them? I think I am. The next thing now that I need to do, I can make them smaller if I need to anyway. The next thing now I need to do is think about the blocks that I'm going to be using with these. The other thing is I want 4 more of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these, Shift D, drag them over. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Tab, make sure I've got them all grabbed, go over to my shading panel, come back to them, press Tab again, and there they all are. And then I'm simply going to press A, G, and move them over just so they're different from these ones. Now, why I'm able to do that with this texture is because this texture is a seamless texture, which means that it basically repeats itself over and over again without any seams along here. So that's why I'm able to do that. I'm able to put them however I want. That's why it's really good using seamless textures. Now, there's a real big difference between UV mapping a asset and using seamless textures. I'll put down on the right hand side here the little bit of difference that there is. But basically with this technique, you struggle to get the shading and the lighting along the actual texture. When you're working with UV mapping, it will actually, you're able to actually put darkness and light and things like that up against like other objects touching these. But with seamless, you're not able to really do that, apart from the way that we've just done with this bevel where it makes it a little bit lighter along these edges. All right, so now we've got that. Let's actually come in then and work on our blocks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to this one first. I'm going to grab the top of here. I'm going to press Shift S, cursor selected, like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Shift A. I'm going to bring in a cube. I'm going to press the S button to bring it in to where I want it. And basically I want it a little bit bigger than that. So this is how it's going to look on the top, like so. And we want this to be Shift Spacebar, move a little bit down just so it's above that top. And then what I'm going to do is with this one is I'm going to get variation. So with this one, I'm going to grab it, press the S button to bring it out a little bit. And there we go. So with, in fact, before I do that, I'll actually bring it over to this one as well. And then we can make use because they all need a top of them on them. Some of them are going to be pulled out like that and some of them are going to be flat. That's the difference that I want to make them. So with this one, I'm just going to press Ctrl Z just to go back. And then what I'm going to do then is I'm going to put a block on each of these. So how I'm going to do that, I've got the right size of the block. What I want to do now is I want to come to where I want to grab this. So Shift D, let's press Ctrl A, all transforms, right click, set origin to geometry, and there we go. And then what I want to do is I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Shift D, duplicate it, grab them both, duplicate them, and then grab 3 of them and duplicate that. So Shift D. Now I've got is 7 there. That's exactly what I want. Now what I want to do is put these blocks into each of these pots. So I'm going to come to this one first, grab the top of it, Shift S, cursor selected, grab this one, Shift S, and selection to cursor. And there we go. Now let's do them all. We'll bring them down all at the same time. So I'm just going to press Shift S, cursor selected, grab this one, Shift S, selection to cursor. And then we're just going to do the same thing for all of these, just to get these blocks into where I actually want them. So, and again, you will think that this has taken a long time, but you'll see again in the end that this is going to speed up the process of actually building out buildings to a very, very fast way. And also they will look really, really realistic and really professional. So let's grab this one, Shift S, and then this one, Shift S, selection to cursor. All right, now let's grab all of these. Let's press 1. And what we're going to do is drop them down to the same height as this one, like so. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to vary these a little bit. So some of them we want to look, you know, a little bit smaller, a little bit longer. So what I tend to do now is I'll come in, I'll grab this one, for instance, and then what I'll do is I'll pull it down. I'll come to this one, I'll pull it up a little bit, and then I'll come to this one, and I'll pull this one down a little bit, and maybe rotate it just a tad, like so. And then I'll do the same thing with these ones. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to grab this one a little bit, I'm going to grab this one. I'm going to grab all three actually. I can do them pretty much all at the same time. So R, Y, rotate it round, and then grab this one. And what we're looking for here, of course, is variations, because we want them to look different. All right, so there those. We can see they're already looking different. Now with the back ones, what I want to do with these is, I want to actually pull out the tops of them. So I'm going to grab each top of these. I'm going to make sure that where my interlocking links is, we're on individual origins. If we have it on medium point, you'll see if I press S, it's going to pull them out all from the point up here. We don't want that. We want to pull them out on individual origins. And now if I press S, we can see they all get pulled out individually, and that's perfect. Now what I want to do is, I want to come in and I want to drag these down to the bottom of here. So I'm going to press Shift D, drag them down, and I want to spin them round. So I want to press R, Y, 180, and because we're on individual origins, it will spin them all round at the same time. And now we can press 3 on the number pad, and we can go in side view, and now we can bring them all down and put them all down at the bottom like so. Now you will see that these are the same as these, but you're really not going to notice that at all. Now let's do the same with these ones as well. And the other thing is, what you can also do is, instead of doing just that, you can actually spin them round from here as well. So if I put this onto medium point, R, Z, 180, you'll see that they all get spin round. The one problem you're going to have is, of course, you got to line them all up. But if you really want to spin them round and make them all look different, then you can do it that way as well. All right, so let's just put them back there. I'm going to keep them the same. And instead of doing it that way, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in and just make some of them bigger, some of them taller, and just make them a little bit variation from the ones I had before. Now let's do these ones. So we'll grab these ones, and what we'll do is we'll press Shift D, like so. I'm going to make sure that they're at the bottom. So if I bring them all down to the bottom, now you can see we have one problem in that they need spinning round, these ones. These ones didn't, but these ones do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press R and X, 180, spin them round, press 1, and now I'm going to drop them all down to the floor like so. And then what I'm going to do with these ones is I'm just going to mix them up a little bit, maybe rotate this one a little bit differently, like so, like so. All right, so we've pretty much got all of the parts we need. The one thing is we need to put parts along all of these now. So let's do that next. So what I'm going to do is I'll do these first because they're a little bit easier. I'll make sure my work is saved out. And the other thing is, while I'm working in this kind of really small space, it does make it hard to work. So instead of doing that, what I'll do is I'll go back to modeling. And then what I'll do is I'll enable me to much easier grab these and mix them up a little bit. Also, I think what I'll do is I'll grab these before finishing and just move them over here just so I have a better view on what I'm actually doing. The other thing you can do is as well, you can grab all of them and press Shift H, and what I'll do is it'll hide everything else out of the way except what you're actually working on. So now you'll see there's no building, no nothing to take away what you're doing at the moment, and now you can just focus on these. All right, everyone, so I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you're following along really nicely, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.